I'm ready.
Alrighty. Well, guys, welcome to another podcast from Game Gamut. It's been a hot minute or so since we've done one, but we have a new game that we really want to discuss with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, indeed. It's not out yet, and it won't actually be out for early access till January 2017. So we're still a little ways out, but we've read a few articles on it, and honestly, I'm pretty stoked for this game. It is called Uboot. What it is about is it's based on a World War II German U-boat, or submarine, hence the name Uboot. It's kind of got a Das Boot feel to it, where, you know, you're the captain of the submarine, you're in charge of the welfare of the crewmates. It is like a crew management thing, but it is also combat oriented with also just like a huge simulation aspect to it. Honestly, at least from what I've understood about the game so far, is that really just the life and times of a submarine sailor. I think that's what you would call him. A submarine sailor.
Submarine sailor. An underwater sailor is what
underwater sailor. You know, it's the simulation of them. You know, there's the crew management aspect. There's also, you know, the combat effectiveness aspect of, you know, how well coordinated your crew is to actually, you know, fight that other submarine, fight that battleship, fight that convoy. It seems like it's drawing a lot of different elements from a lot of different games, and I think this has a huge potential to actually be a pretty cool early access game if done correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, if done correctly, going back to all the elements it's pulling, it seems like the core of the game is similar to Fallout Shelter. Well, I shouldn't say that's what it seems like. That's what it is. Because, I mean, they said it. And so, I mean, you're literally managing a crew and trying to get the best out of them. And I mean, as a captain, you want to be kind of authoritarian. You want to bring out the best of them. But you can actually break these guys, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm very intrigued. Every sailor that you have has their own story, their own background, their own strengths and weaknesses, and really just how you are as a captain, a ship captain. An underwater captain, you're going to bring out the best of these guys. And I mean, what's really, you know, going through the Kickstarter and everything, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot here, just in terms of gameplay, and I actually really like that because it seems like they're really focusing on, you know, just developing your crew, on the submarine. And so, you know, I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to be able to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of focusing on the submarine, from what I've read and seen so far, the game, it's made by a company called Deepwater Studios, right? Is that what it's called? Deepwater Studios. So
Yep.
You know that this is their baby. You know,
and their logo is a fucking U-boat.
Yeah. So, you know, when you make a company that is based solely on the game you're producing, you know that this is their child. This is their baby.
Yeah. Well, you know, the other thing, too, is I thought this game was already made. We are Deepwater Studio from Warsaw, Poland. I could have sworn they had a game like this or very similar, or it's an exact version that's in Russia right now. People can actively play it, but now they're bringing it, you know, over to the western part of the world. Might be wrong about that, but pretty sure they're already, making this game. Didn't you mention some other games that they've been doing?
I don't know of any games they've been doing, but in terms of games that are very similar, I know you already mentioned Fallout Shelter. Another one that comes very similar to this one for me is Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is also a game where you manage a crew, you go out into dungeons, but you know the difference between U-Boat and Darkest Dungeon is that you would go out into the ocean, you go out into the sea as the submarine, whereas Darkest Dungeon you go out into the dungeon, and you have to a big factor, you know, the silent killer of any campaign, whether it be for U-Boot or for Darkest Dungeon, is the fact that you have to deal with the crew's sanity. When everyone has a breaking point, just like as you would in real life, and once the breaking point happens, who knows what's going to happen? You know, some guys rise to the cause when they hit the stress level, some people become cowards. The game mentions that some will turn to alcoholism, some will be cowards, some will be heroes, and some will be spies. You know, they'll turn into spies for the British and the Americans. which I thought was a very interesting thing and a very cool concept, because that means you can't always just drive everyone to the limit like in real life. There do has to be a risk and reward for everything you do, and I think that I think it's a very great trend I've been seeing lately in a lot of early access games when it comes to like doing simulation, is that they do add a lot of interpersonal attributes that we would actually all face if put in similar situations like this.
Yeah. And what really tells me like they're trying as hard as they possibly can to make it seem like the overall experience, like being a captain on a submarine, is the crew isn't only just going to work for you. Like, you're actually going to watch them live their lives. Mm-hmm. They even mentioned sailors, underwater sailors fighting, over who has the prettiest girlfriend and shit. And so, I mean, going back to the whole Fallout Shelter thing, that's kind of like what it is. You just have everyone living out their lives underneath that shelter. The other thing I was going to mention too is looking at a lot of the screenshots. For those of you who have ever played World of Warships, it has that look to it, but I'm almost going to guarantee you that it's going to be an entirely different game. And not only that, I think it's going to be even a much better looking game too. They're trying to create a next generation version of water. And, I mean, this game even has potential to revolutionize that shit. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, if you look at, like, I thought GTA 5 kind of did a really good job in terms of making, scenery look really nice, when you're flying over the ocean and stuff. But, it'd be interesting to see how, moving forward, once this game comes out, how other video games are going to kind of try and adopt whatever look they're going for and appeal. I didn't really see a whole lot quite yet. But
yeah, I think without a doubt, Deepwater Studios really much appears to be doing their homework in this. One other huge selling point they have is that they really did seem to reconstruct an entire model of a U-boat. Like one of their selling points is that you can look at any part of that submarine and see how things work, and you almost have to even know how things work in case things break, because things will break. And you have to fix them, or else you could have a sinking submarine, which would be a terrible and awful death. So I think that's a really cool thing that they're like, hey, we need to really replicate a model submarine. We can't just half-ass this. This has to be something we put everything into. And then, as you said with the water, because I mean, realistically, when you're just a submarine out in the ocean, like, what is there to see? What is there
right.
to really look at? Once you go underwater, it's just blackness. So it's like, okay, how do we make this visually or aesthetically appealing for the person playing it? It's like, well, we have to make some pretty dope water simulations.
And put in the Kraken.
That'd be a great little feature.
That would be like super rare to see it, but it's in there.
Yeah, like it says Uboot is making a sandbox. So Deepwater Studios, if you are listening to this, that would be awesome, an awesome Easter egg to have a Kraken in there.
Yeah, and like I don't want everyone posting a video. Like I want one guy like a year from now going, holy shit, dude, I just saw a Kraken.
Yeah, like once they hit like the 100-hour mark of the game or something, they're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, going to that though, going to the atmospheric stuff, Uboot is really, or Deepwater Studio is really, focusing on the most important features aside from a crew. So obviously, next-gen water. The other thing that they're really focusing on, and I mean, I'll just read this one sentence verbatim. Music is an essential part of our game. That should be everybody's statement, but they really made it like I listened to it and I felt like I was on a submarine. I closed my eyes and I was like, I am living in a U-boot right now. U-boat. And so they're really focusing on a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, like even in their intro video, the scenery, like storms going on, and it looks incredibly realistic. And there's just it's honestly beautiful, man. I want to play this game now.
Yeah, I really want to. And unfortunately, the only unfortunate thing is if any of you are listening to this, you're like, wow, I really want to get into this. I want to be it from the ground up. Unfortunately, they've already hit their full pledging, as far as I can tell. Maybe you can still go through PayPal and ask to help out. I can't imagine they would be mad at taking our money. So for $12, you could at least get the early bird special, which is the Steam key on release, but obviously I don't want to go too much deeper into it. I will link the Kickstarter project in the video or in the description below so you can check it out for yourself, but I don't want to go into all the cool benefits of backing this because they are, I think, technically closed, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, what they really needed, they needed 20,000. They're already over, almost at 40,000 now.
Yeah.
And so they just needed 20,000 to make the game, and now every additional dollar you give makes the game even better. Oh my God, playable allied subs. Jeez. So one of the funny things that I really want to just mention is they have for $4,000 ish. That's a big word. You can actually donate money and become and they'll put you into the game as like a captain. And if I ever won the Powerball, I would just do that. Just to be like, yeah, that's me. Owning a U-boot, living out my dream.
Just to see Luxbu's ugly mug on the game, it'd be tough to back it after that.
Dude, they have to. All right, fuck off, bro. They're remaking me, so they're gonna make me even more
prettier?
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll be the belle of the ball. At the submarine, all the sailors will be eye goggling you.
All right. No. No.
Yeah, am I making you feel uncomfortable yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Now I'm retracting my statement because I don't want to look beautiful in a submarine. Who knows how long we're all going to be out there for?
Yeah, man.
I hear weird shit happens.
Yeah, when you're out on a submarine, you're not seeing sunlight for months. So yeah, I'm sure everything starts looking a little bit better at the end of that tour. But I guess that is another thing I want to bring up in terms of the long tours that you do in the submarine. When you do go back to harbor, you do follow real world events in the game. So when you go back to harbor, the harbor can be upgraded depending on how well your missions are going. So you can upgrade your U-boat and be better at fighting stronger enemies. Maybe bigger ships. But then also, as I just said, it does follow historical events of World War II. So in the trailer, they do talk about how, hey, we just lost a bunch of people over in Germany, due to, the Royal Air Force bombing one of these cities. And you see, the crew kind of be like, oh man, I can't believe that happened. We just lost a bunch of our boys. And, then it's you as the captain to, whether say something inspiring or just, be a dickwagon. So, and I think that is, a cool thing, because obviously, spoiler alert, the side you're playing on, the Nazi side, they don't win the war. So it will be interesting to see how you, as a submarine, kind of go through the timeline of the war as you start to realize, oh my God, we're not winning this. What the hell just happened?
Right.
So I think that will be a very cool thing to see how it plays out, and, how you can manage your crew in terms of having them not break their humanity or their stress levels too high. Because I imagine as, the writing becomes more apparent on the wall that Germany is not winning this war, it's probably a lot harder to manage the crew as time goes on.
Yeah, with a losing war. That's an interesting fact, or an interesting point to see how that works. I'm looking at other ships that they now have, and it looks like they do have the United States and England with their own ships. They have the U.S. Liberty ship. They have the best scuba gear for these guys.
Where are you seeing this at?
It's in one of their latest updates from July 21st. Because now once they hit in a little under $2,000 more, they're actually going to incorporate more ships.
Interesting. So I guess that is actually good to point out that you are in fact hitting, bigger ships than just, I don't know,
the U-boat.
Just another convoy or another submarine. So that is cool that they are actually incorporating a ton of ships that you can hunt and.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see too once they actually go through everything and then they start selling the game and then getting a lot of money depending on how, I guess, well it sells. Mm-hmm. The concept. You already have the core. The concept wouldn't be so hard to apply to, destroyers and battleships and all that other stuff. So, it would be really interesting to see I just the
Oh.
only thing is I don't know how they're going to work with multiplayer. You know.
That one I imagine will actually be like a pretty, unless it's like solely just based on combat and they kind of put the crew simulation to the side. I don't know how that would really work out unless it's
you kind of level, like your level is literally your crew leveling up.
Yeah, or I'm not sure if it would be like a warship sort of thing. Like maybe it would just be like a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3, or maybe be like a co-op campaign. But obviously, we're just speculating at this point. Like, who knows what they would really have for multiplayer?
Yeah, well, that would be dope if they could. I mean, the other thing that's just kind of not clear to me right now is how, like, what you can actually do in terms of commanding the ship to actually do things in a war that you're actually fighting in.
True.
I don't really. It doesn't really look like there's a whole lot of commands there. I guess it just looks like it's more of a really micromanagey game. Well, I shouldn't say micromanagey, but managed game. So
I get what you're saying. Yeah. So it will be interesting to see as more updates come out what we will be doing. I can't wait to see more. And hopefully we, by the turn of next year, the turn of 2017, we get a pretty clean product. Obviously we all hope for a lot of early access games in high esteem, and some tend to flutter. So let's hope this is not one of them, because it honestly shows great promise, if you ask me.
Yep, and we'll definitely keep it under our radar. And whenever there's a really big update, I think that'll be time for us to make another video.
I think so.
Keep everyone else informed.
Yeah, we gotta keep everyone on their toes. So,
and then we'll link it in this video when we make the next video.
That's some dangerous thinking right there, partner.
Look at that! I'm already making a promise, right? Meh.
Yeah, you're making a promise. Hopefully,
well, it's not a promise. I mean, it is a promise, assuming that Uboot delivers.
The masses need to know.
They need to know.
They gotta know. So, alright guys, I think we're going to end it here. That's kind of all that could be said right now, unless we just start going through every single update that they have, which, I mean...
most of the updates are just like announcements almost.
Yeah, so we'll just probably incorporate those into the next episode we do, assuming there's another big update that comes out. So, thank you guys very much for watching. It's honestly been a pleasure showcasing this game for you guys, and, talking it up, because it honestly looks pretty awesome. So...
Yeah. If you like what we talked about, hit that like button. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you think about this game. Let us know what you think about our podcast. That'd be great too.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed us, hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep pumping these out for you. We love doing it. Just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry.
No, you're all good from here.
At least myself, I'm pretty terrible at mentioning all that stuff.
Nah, yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
That was good. I had forgotten. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. And as always...
Happy gaming, gamers.